Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Your performance is as Anna, the strong-willed and wonderful Anna, is
Alma.
Alma. I'm sorry. Oh my God, starting off on the wrong foot. Absolutely, Alma. Excuse me. Anyway,
Alma means, if
soul.
I'm not wrong, the mountain.
Oh.
Alma? I think it means mountain
In
the
soul in
salt?
Spanish, exactly. Yeah. Alma is such a strong-willed person, and it's such an interesting role to be the muse of somebody who is so temperamental and fussy, as Reynolds Woodcock is. And I heard that you didn't realize that you initially, when you first got the role, that you were going to be on screen as much with Daniel Day-Lewis. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Did you not know how big the part was, or what was, when you found out, what was your reaction to?
Well, like, I when I got when they asked me to put it on tape, I didn't get the script, so it was just some lines. So I didn't know anything about the script or the story, or I just related to the words of the character, really. And that's what I put on tape. And then I don't remember when Paul sent me the script later then, and I didn't know it was Daniel. That's true, but I don't remember when I found out, but someone told me at some point, who read it in the newspaper or something.
He's so famous for immersing himself in roles and method acting. Is that anything you do, or what is your style?
I don't really believe in names or definitions of things. So for me it's just acting, and one person calls it method acting and one person calls it differently, but I think it's just everyone has his own way to get to the point where you want to start working. And I think I just have a different way, and I don't call it method acting, but I end up in the same place where he ends up, and then we just work. You know, it's because for me acting is really just being in the moment as well as I can, and then I just listen and I just answer, which sounds like nothing, but it's a lot to create this concentration. And I think he probably, I don't want to speak for someone, you know, but I think that his way of preparing is to prepare so much to then let go, because you know everything. And I decided, also because I knew I would work with him, who's, you know, so strong, and you know what people tell you about him, and I decided to go the other way and forget everything about who he is. And I didn't Google him, I didn't Google any of his films, I didn't Google method acting, or, you know. I really didn't. And it's funny because later people told me, you know, he's a method actor, and I was like, what's that? I had heard of it, but in Europe it's not like such a big thing like here. So I decided to not know about anything, so I could be for Alma, which I thought would be right for her, so open and you know, not naive, but pure and innocent in a way.
Yeah, she's a very interesting character because she is open and innocent, but like you say, she's not naive at all, and she's very patient. Are any of these traits that you personally have, or did you find it difficult to get into that?
I'm absolutely not patient. That was really hard. But I found out that I have it in me somewhere, probably. But that was very hard, especially because of the long period, you know. It was like 3 months or something, and I could never release. That was really hard, you know. As you see in the movie, there's maybe only the one scene in the dinner where you can see that I start to improvise, you know, and but it was not anywhere near what I wanted to release, you see. So even there I was still holding back, because Alma couldn't, you know. I would have done I don't know what, but she could just leave the room. Yeah, so.
What did you think of Alma as a person? What was your thought of, like, how did you get into her mindset?
Well, as I said, I tried to understand how could someone be so open, or how could someone be so patient, and how could you be so, what's the opposite of selfish? Like,
Unselfish, yeah, or selfless.
it's easy,
yeah.
unselfish. But she's not constantly comparing her situation to what it could be. She's not like, oh, I'm in an uncomfortable place now. I don't feel good. No, she's just accepting it as what it is. So I try to understand who can be like this, who can be so open, who can be so strong. So I decided to try and fill her with a lot of emptiness, and like almost like a meditation, that I tried to only fill her. I was reading Emily Dickinson, and I was going on long walks, and I just looked at the ocean and listened to the birds and the sky and everything, and I tried to fill myself just with these abstract landscapes, so I wouldn't be full of my ideas of how to make a movie, or my ideas of who she is or who he is, or so yeah.
I read somewhere you described it as being like a blank sheet of paper.
Yeah, exactly. That's a little bit what I try to do, to forget everything I know, and to be like a blank paper, almost like a baby. So to see whatever comes your way, like a miracle, like something new, and then you can answer to it.
It was interesting to me because we don't know anything about her. We knew a little bit about Reynolds' character. We knew his sister, and we knew a little bit about how he got to where he got. We knew nothing about her. We met her when she was in that cafe waiting on him, and then we don't know where she came from. We don't know her backstory. Did you discuss some of that with Paul Thomas Anderson?
Yes, there is a backstory, and we shot some of it. It's not in the movie, but actually the movie used to start with her praying in the church, where she's talking to her mother, because her mother died, and she came over from Europe, in this case Luxembourg, because I'm from Luxembourg, but she could have been from anywhere, like Belgium, or and there was all this backstory, and there was some of it in the movie, and then Paul decided to edit it this way, which I think is interesting, because now she just appears like a ghost, or, like a phantom almost, and I found that very interesting, because it doesn't need all of this explanation, because I don't know how you feel, but most people I asked, my first question was, do you believe the love story, or do you see? And they say yes, and I said, when? And they said, well, in the beginning, in the cafe. So I think this is why he then cut it like this, because you don't need all the reason, you just need to see how two people see each other. Because what is love, It's really just seeing someone for no reason. It's just you suddenly see this one person and you deeply recognize him or her. Mm-hmm. And she sees you. And that's what it is, and it doesn't need a name, and it doesn't need a time, and it just is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was his directorial style on the set? Because I understand that it was a very cramped set, such a beautiful townhouse, but that it was confined, and claustrophobic a little bit with all that.
I think that's when you are American and you're used to having all this space.
Yeah, not so much in Europe.
For me, it was just a normal set, It's true, which was good for me because I felt home. It was the set was actually almost like an independent film, a student film, which I'm used to. So to me, it didn't feel so claustrophobic. What felt claustrophobic for me was the city, but that was only because before we shot in these beautiful landscapes, and I was, so, I was with Reynolds the whole time, So for this to work, I had to really be concentrated with him the whole time, We were shooting every day, only not on Sunday, and I was completely submerged in his world, so I had to, and I forgot everything. I forgot what day we were or what time, and then we came to London, and it was a city, and the people were everywhere, and that was actually more claustrophobic than the house, to me.
It's so interesting to me. You seem like such a natural actress. You throw yourself into the role with such to forget what day it is and all of that. Have you always known that you wanted to be an actress? When did you decide, and how did you get into it?
Probably I wanted to be an actress, I must say, to be honest, because, you know, if you... But I never said so. It's not something... I didn't grow up saying I want to be an actress. I think because I was from Luxembourg and it's such a small country, to me that would be like going to the moon. You're becoming an actress, you know. I didn't even know what an acting school was, so I remember thinking I had to go to Africa. I went to Africa for 1 year to work and to get away from home and, you know, to get fresh ideas. And I realized, no, actually, I think I want to be an actress. And yes, because I looked at a mountain, and it was so beautiful, and the landscape was so beautiful and moving to me that I remember standing there thinking, oh, I don't, whatever I want to work, I want it to be something where I can record this now into me, and then go home and go to Luxembourg, where people might not have seen African mountains, you know, and share it or give it, you know. And then in a naive way, I thought that would be, you know, acting and in a theater, you know, where you go on stage and you then pour out whatever you... but
experienced.
Yes,
Yeah.
It sounds weird, but that was my imagery or something. And then I went back home and I Googled acting school.
So you do Google.
and the acting school came, one in Berlin, one in Leipzig, one in London, and in Zurich. And then I chose Zurich because I liked the lake, which is so funny because now that I know that, you know, you would choose an acting school in London, or, you know, but I think it explains very well what it means, you know, to come from a small country.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I understand there are a few words of, is it Luxembourgish, in the film? Something about a hedgehog?
Yes, exactly. I'm very proud or happy that it's still there, because I found it because I did the dubbing in German and in French, and they always give you the script and then they say what you have to translate. I mean, the translated version. So probably someone from here wrote down English script, and then this was translated. And in this sequence, it's a sequence when we get married, and you have the voiceover. Yes, I, Alma Elson, I say yes, and so and so. But you see the image of the restaurant. And in the restaurant we talk, and someone tried to think of what we might be saying, writing something like, yeah, let's have dinner at 9, or blah, blah, blah. And I was always like, no, I never said that. What? So I sat down and I looked at the lips and I tried to read what we were saying. And there actually I am saying to Daniel, yeah, in Luxembourgish my favorite word is Käsecker. And Käsecker is hedgehog in Luxembourgish. And then you can see him go, what's that, Käsecker? And then I go, yeah, Käsecker. And then my sister, who sits right of me, she played my sister, but she's not in the movie really much now. And then she says, yes, and my favorite one is Deckelsmoke, which means so much like frog with a lid. and because it's to, you know, kröten, you know, you have frogs, they're green, and then the other ones which are brown, how do you call them?
Toads?
Toads. Yes. So the toad is a frog with a lid, you know, and it's a very simple language. It's a very imagery, simple language, and then you can see Leslie going, frog with a lid, with a lid, you know, with whatever she's drinking. And I was so happy when I found it. I was like, oh, there's some Luxembourgish in the movie. Yeah.
You may be the first person that any of us has met who's from Luxembourg, so that's...
Yeah, I mean, there are maybe 60,000 Luxembourgers. We are actually called Luxembourgers.
Luxembourgers?
Yeah, I always found it so weird when they ask me to fill out the form, you know. What nationality are you? It's easy to write Luxembourg, but then writing Luxembourger, I always feel like so weird. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a student film, and I think I had heard that when you first got the email, you didn't really realize it was Paul Thomas Anderson, and you thought it might have been a student film?
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Well, because I live in Berlin and I'm not expecting to get an email from an American casting agent. I must say this so you understand. And it was a name I didn't know. I opened the email and I was, on the bus with my phone like you are now and looking. And I always go to the script. That's what I always go. Like if I get an email, I want to know what's the project, what's the script, the text. So I scrolled down to the document and I opened it. And I immediately connected to the words. And as I said, it was not a full script, it was just some lines. So I thought it's just some lines because there is no script, or because maybe it's just someone trying to find something, or, not because someone is maybe making a secret out of the... And the name Paul Thomas Anderson must have been in the email, but as I scrolled down so quickly, and also because I don't know names, just names. I don't really...
Yeah.
So I just...
Movies, probably not his name. Yeah.
So I saw it and I just kept in mind, I have to put this on tape. Yes. It's really nice. So I put it on tape and I sent it. And then what was funny is when my agent called me, I could hear her voice, very excited, and she's usually not excited, and because she's German, So she and I was already like, what's the voice? But I didn't, and I was in my garden, and then she says, yes, so the director's very happy, and he's asking if he can have your phone number to call you. And I was like, yeah, we'll give him my phone number. And then it was quiet on the other end, and then silent. And she said, Vicky, do you know who he talk about? And I said, oh, no, you're right. Oh, I forgot the name. It's some student film, right? Like in London. I don't know the name yet. Can you remind me? And she's like, it's Paul Thomas Anderson. And yes, and then I was very surprised. Yes.
Do you remember what the lines were that you connected to, that you first saw?
Yes, it's part of this voiceover, which is in the beginning, but it was different. It's not, he changed it then. Then it was more, it was good because I could then relate to kind of the story, because it was something like her speaking about Reynolds and saying, I always wonder if he's going to push me off the cliff at any moment. So I knew, it's a strange relationship. Yeah. And from the text also, there was something inside, you could tell that he has many women. Now it's not in the movies so much anymore, but it was really, we even shot it, it was really part of the character that he would have all these women. Usually he would have a woman only for 1 year, and then the next one, and the next one, and always very young, and models, and, which was hard for Alma, to see and to be like, and this is also something I had to find in her, to be strong enough to not, to not be like,
Possessive?
What's the name? Yeah, possessive, and also hurt, because you are only hurt if you expect something, or you're only hurt if you put yourself in the context. You see, this man has many women. Oh my God, that means that I will then, Yeah. It's only because you do this. Right. So I tried for her to be someone who doesn't do all of this thinking, and it's just there. Yeah.
She is very present, and there are moments where you are so in the moment, and I noticed like your face flushed. You blushed a couple times. Can you control that?
No. I can't. But what's so cool is because me and Paul, we said, okay, Alma cannot have makeup. And then we went to the makeup people and we said, so Alma cannot have makeup. And then they said, yeah, no problem. And they started to go, because for the no makeup. And we said, no makeup. And so, no. And, but Paul is really cool, Paul Engelen. And so he understood and he said, okay, cool. So we did really for her, except for when she's really becoming this woman, we really did no makeup. And then it was so good because then you can see her blush, and it's really nice for the scene.
It is.
So absolutely. Yeah, so I was happy that we took this decision, because otherwise you wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah, that's right, because it would have been under makeup. I heard you learned to sew for the role as well.
Yes.
So what was that like?
That was a great opportunity. I mean, I didn't learn so much as I wanted to, and I couldn't prepare like Daniel because I had to work before. You know, as I also had to work afterwards.
You couldn't take years off to
Well,
learn.
yes, it's so funny because they always go, "What? You have to work again in August?" Yes, because I have to pay my bills. It's like, anyway. So because I was working before, I didn't have so much time to learn sewing. So I had to learn it really, kind of just before or while we were shooting, because we had an atelier where they were making all the dresses for the movie in this atelier. So really, you know, while we were shooting, they were making the dresses. And many seamstresses, and so I just, whenever I was free, I went in there and I tried to observe them, what they would do, and learn about draping and the different fabrics and how to sew a buttonhole, or you know, the different stitches. And so I didn't become a seamstress, but I became someone who knows about sewing. And you know, yeah.
Speaking of having to work, you, I know you're going to be in a mini series of Das Boot.
Yeah, that's what I made just before I came here.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And then the Marvin Gaye film, Sexual Healing.
No, that's
Is that wrong?
I shot that was like 2013. It's a long time ago, and that was a very nice project actually. But then for some reason, the production, whatever happened, I don't know, it just finished, like poof. and the movie is shot like maybe 60% or more, and it just stopped. There was some, and then people said, yeah, it's because of the family of Marvin Gaye, and so, I don't know, something. But anyway, that's not a movie I'm making now.
Because it seems like you're going to be, if not already, very much in demand. Because I know you have been very much in demand for German and French productions and Luxembourgish productions, but also here now. Gotten any calls? Do you want to jinx it?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. What?
It seems like we could predict that you're going to get a lot of calls. But
Okay.
I hope.
Okay. Good to know.
So England in the 1950s was a very constrained culture with a lot of rules and all of that. What did you make of sort of learning about how to live in that era?
I really tried to just go backwards from the war, you know. I just tried to imagine everything related to the war. Like if you try to think of if something like this happened, not to you, but maybe to your family member, or people died, how do you live? How do you live if, not, you know, in your very close past, people have died, many. I think it says everything, like, because you cannot just continue, but you have to continue. You have to believe in the future, but you don't know what you're referring to, so it's like everything in the open. So you look back to your roots and your culture to try and hold on to it, and maybe this is why they had all these, you know, rules and how to dress and how to behave, and because it was also a way of holding on to something, you know. I can understand that, and then, but also trying to be open and believe in something new. So for me, to understand London, or you know, in the 50s was really learning about this. Yeah.
We have some questions from the audience that they already wrote, so let me ask you these. This is a question from Zach. Want to raise your hand, Zach? Okay. He asks, what was an artistic plateau that you encountered in your career, and how did you overcome it? An artistic plateau, like how you overcome, or if you reached a certain point and maybe you couldn't get to the next point. How was there such a experience in your life, and how did you?
Okay, if there was an experience in my life artistically where I reached a point where I couldn't get over.
Yes.
Okay, it's just really difficult to be very to be right about my answer, because I would love to be so intelligent to, you know, to analyze myself so well. But I think yes, and I think I couldn't say now exactly when it was, but I think there was a point where I was maybe sad, not sad, but frustrated that, whatever I would do, it was so difficult, to because I was always trying to believe in myself and my work and what I do, and not listen to what they say, what I have to do, or, and doing, maybe the things where I don't earn enough money or much money, But then it felt so like a confined space I was in, like trying to. But then I realized that it was myself, really, who put myself in this way, I think it was myself seeing it this way, or seeing it as difficult. And then what I can say is, I think it was before I made this movie, funny enough, that I suddenly somehow I let go of something. I don't remember what it was, but I just kind of let go. And what I will always remember is, before I got offered this part, I had no work for a long time. And I remember thinking, you should be nervous, you should be afraid, or you should be, going, I need to work, oh my God, I don't get offers. But it didn't come. I was so relaxed and very quiet and calm. And this calmness came from somewhere what didn't need a reason. I was calm because I was calm. Because it's true, why would you not be calm? There's no reason to not be calm in life in general, life is short, why would you stress? So, and that's funny because it was just afterwards this came, and there was no way that I could, no way I would ever imagine this to come, like that. It's out of the complete, like, so that's funny now that you ask me, I think that was I got over something there, but I don't know what.
That's great, to have that sense of peace and calm. Yes. Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, Christopher?
Think about it.
Christopher, are you here? Yeah. Okay, so Christopher wants to know, what, if any, professional or life advice or influence did you gain from Daniel Day-Lewis?
Many, and they are all positive, which is interesting because you think he's so intense and he's so, but actually all I got was positive. And what I most learned from him is to be, to be brave enough to say, my work is worth of what I think it needs. So if I need peace, or if I need quiet, then I can ask for this because it's my work and it's worth it, So if I need the space for my work to exist, then I can ask for it. And it's actually not hautain, it's not without respectless or anything. It's really just very natural. It's a very natural way of saying, well, me, to do the work I do, this is what I need. And I can ask the room for this. Not because I think I'm so very important and because my work is so important. No, just because this is my work. And if you want my work, otherwise there are many other people, but if you want my craft, then this is how it works, and I will need this space. And this is really something I learned and I took with me, I think, for how I work now.
Did he express that to you, or did you just kind of observe it in how he interacted?
I just observed it. Yes, I observed it, and yes, I observed it. And seeing someone, who's so serious, and in the society we live, we always want to have a good time. We always want, it should be nice and funny and a good time, and we're so relaxed. Oh, we're having such a good time. Oh, it's so cool. And then whenever someone's serious, we think, either this person has a problem or is not nice. But then to see, no, someone can also be serious just because he takes his work maybe serious, or why not be serious? You can then switch to the light things or be funny, but it's really just to be serious about what you do.
Absolutely. Well, we have one last question here, and this is anonymous. And I think you might have answered some of these already, but I'll ask you again. How did you get involved with this project, and how did you prepare for the role? So,
Well, yes, I think I said how I got involved with the project. Paul then called me, and he then came to Berlin, and we read the script, and then we went on a walk. And I wanted to take him to a theater because I knew it's the old Berlin theater, Volksbühne, that was closing, and I wanted to see it, for him to see it. And I knew the play they were playing was an homage to Boogie Nights. And
really? Oh, how perfect.
and I thought, we have to see it, you know?
we have to see that, yeah.
But now, wait, and then we go, and we were a little late, and we came there, and we were maybe 2 minutes late. And there was a lady in the booth, like old Berlin, Eastern Berlin woman like this, you know. And we came there, we were 2 minutes late, and she said, "No, you're late." And I remember thinking, no, but you know, the director of the play would love this guy to be in the audience, please, you know. But I could, and I tried, and she was really like, no, no, no. And there was a point where I just gave up because I understood for this woman, it doesn't mean nothing because I couldn't, yes, and I couldn't explain it to her because she would go, Paul, who? You know, for her, you see what I mean? And it was such a nice imagery also for how different people are, or how different lives are and realities. And, you know, in one world you are Paul Thomas Anderson, and for this woman he was just a guy who was late. You know, although the whole play just existed for him, you know. But that's how it is. And then we laughed and we went and had very nice food, which was nice too. And yeah, that was it.
Did you ever see the play?
Yes, I saw the play. Yeah. But he never saw the play,
Right.
which is
I thought you might have
quite
gone
sad.
back to see it, yeah.
Yeah, no, now the theater closed. And it was one of the last, you know, like alternative, really good theaters. They were showing like political stuff and, you know, not like to please everyone, but just their stuff. But yeah, it's really, it's stupid. But then from there he said, come to London. So I came to London and I read the script with Daniel and Paul. And I remember reading it. I could feel that like it was really magical. I was in a room and we were reading, and while we were reading, it was almost as if the words were lifting from the page, you know? It was like if the movie was there suddenly. It was so weird. It was really strange. So that then afterwards, I did my second faux pas. That was a real faux pas. They then turned to me to say if I would, you know, play the role, which of course I was. I mean, it was absurd because yes, of course, and you know, I was so excited. And I then said, and it just came out of me. I said, well, yeah, because who else?
Because what? Who else what?
I don't know who else could play it, but I didn't mean, you know, well, just after I said it, I said, oh, no, sorry, I don't mean it this way. I mean, like, just only from my heart and from the character, you know, and from what I just experienced, but not on a professional level. Like, on a professional level, never would I think this. I would, you know, I would be like on my knees and, you know, but I was not in my head on a professional level. I was here. Oh God, anyway, they must have thought I'm crazy. You know?
They probably thought she deserves the role then. Well, thank you so much, Vicky. This has been such a pleasure. Thank you.